Hey, it's Mel. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome anyways. Today's video, unfortunately, is not a positive one. Today I'm going to be talking about my first time experiencing sleep paralysis. You guys know that I share the good and the bad with you. I've never experienced sleep paralysis before. This happened a few days ago and since then I have not slept. Before I talk about my experience with sleep paralysis, I'm first of all going to be talking a little bit about what sleep paralysis is. For those of you that are unfamiliar with it, sleep paralysis is a feeling of being awake but you're unable to move, and it's kind of in the stages where you're half awake, half asleep. That's like the most amateur way of describing it. Sleep paralysis only lasts for a few minutes. Sleep paralysis is a type of parasomnia, which is a sleeping disorder. Symptoms of sleep paralysis include having difficulty breathing, feeling pressure on the chest, having feelings of pure fear, and in extreme cases a person might experience hallucinations afterwards. The dreams can seem very real, very vivid, and all of the symptoms that I've just listed is what I experienced. Now moving on, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my history. So I have sleeping problems. I've had sleeping problems pretty much my entire bloody life. Sleeping problems run in both sides of my family. When I was a child, I suffered from extreme night terrors. I'd be asleep, but then all of a sudden, I'd just go into these fits of pure fear. I'd be screaming, I'd be throwing my arms around. It was pretty terrifying, and then at the age of 15, during my high school years, I was diagnosed with classic insomnia. And because I suffer with insomnia, it's no surprise to me that this occurred. Anyone with insomnia, you know my pain. If you have insomnia, any type of insomnia, you're a target for sleep paralysis. I don't mean to scare you. At the time that I experienced sleep paralysis, which was a few days ago, I didn't know what it was. Like, I've heard of sleep paralysis, but I've never experienced it for myself until then. I have friends who have experienced sleep paralysis. They've described it as a terrifying event. Most cases of sleep paralysis include the person waking up in a dream and seeing like a demon face. That's insane. I've never experienced that. I'm sorry if I don't seem like myself. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I'm 90% of the time a positive, happy unicorn, okay? But what I experienced with sleep paralysis scared the absolute fuck out of me, and I wouldn't wish sleep paralysis on my worst enemy. And every single goddamn time that I look at my door, I just get this image of a... I'll explain it in a minute, but I'm like scarred for life now. I've been on edge ever since. I've not slept. My anxiety and stress levels are through the roof. Now I'm gonna talk to you about what I experienced. I'm getting anxiety just thinking about it. So a few nights ago, I got into bed at 10 p.m. and I fell asleep at around 2 in the morning. And something that I do every single night before I go to bed is I will put my laptop out of the way underneath my bed, and I will then shut my bedroom door and put my draft excluder at the bottom of the door to stop like a draft coming through. Bear in mind, you know, it's cold outside, we're in winter right now. I'll turn all of my lights off. I have a string of like LED lights. I'll turn them off. I never leave my door open, especially at night. I just like my privacy, as one does. So when I fell asleep, I had the dream, and the dream was that I was in bed and I had my laptop open on my lap. All my lights were off, it was dark, and all of a sudden I remember hearing footsteps and heavy breathing. The door then slowly opens and I see this fucking... excuse my language, but I see this man, and he's skinny, he's tall, he's wearing like a black suit with a white undershirt. And his eyes are completely white, no pupil, just white eyes, and they seem to be glowing slightly. And then he had this eerie smile, huge, with pearly white teeth from ear to ear. He's like staring at me, not saying a word. I can't move, I'm petrified, I'm panicking, and he's just standing there, just staring at me. And I can see that he's holding a large shotgun in his hands and the barrel is pointing downwards. Then, I'm sorry, my voice is breaking. After a few seconds of him just saying nothing and staring at me, all of a sudden he runs at me. Full speed, just starts running at me. And he's still got that huge grin on his face. And then, once he's this close to my face, I drop my laptop. My laptop goes off the bed. And all of a sudden, I wake up. Now, when I woke up, my anxiety was through the roof. My heart was like beating out of my chest, and my hands were shaking. I was drenched in sweat. I was hyperventilating. My bedsheet was all wet because that had sweat on it. I know that's TMI, but whatever, I'm just being honest. After waking up, the first thing I did as a reaction was to go like this, to grab a laptop. But then I realised that I'm awake. My laptop's not on my bed, it's underneath my bed where I had left it before I went to bed that night. I then looked towards my door and the door was all the way open, just wide open. I don't leave my door open, I've never done that. The draft excluder was also pushed aside against the door. Why is the door open? Is my first question. I felt very sick in that moment. Out of all the times that the door could potentially be open, it just so happens to be this time, the second that I wake up from having sleep paralysis. Oh, the door's open. Like, I have no explanation for that. Granted that weird things have been happening in my house since 2015 and things still continue to happen. Now, I'm a skeptic, so seeing that door open really just rattled me. After waking up and seeing the door open, I then just shut the door, put the draft excluder back in its place. I then got a change of clothes because mine were just soaked in sweat. I got changed, I put deodorant on, I then got a glass of water and I just sat down on my bed, scared shitless. I just needed a minute to figure out what the fuck just happened. I know I'm not the only one who's dealt with this sort of thing. I also find it very odd that a few days before this happened, I had sleep paralysis, I had to throw away my dream catcher. I had this purple small dream catcher and I truly do believe in those things. I do believe that they do work. A few days before this happened, I had thrown the dream catcher away. I find the timing very weird. Like, I throw the dream catcher away, then a few days later, I have this sleep paralysis experience. My fear or concern is that this sleep paralysis is going to happen again, and I don't need that shit. It was like the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. This is how it works with me. It's either horrific nightmares or nothing. I rarely have good dreams. Seeing that man with the creepy smiling face is traumatizing. I never want to go through something like that again, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. The whole experience gave me anxiety, and I haven't told my friends or family about it because how do you bring that up casually in a conversation? Like, do you know what I mean? That's not something you can just like look upon lightly. Sleep paralysis cannot like physically harm you. I just felt like talking about this because I can't seem to move on from it, and it was just scary as fuck, alright? Around this time, my mum asks me, what can I get you for Christmas, what do you want? I told her that I wanted a dream catcher, like I want a new one. I'm never going to forget this sleep paralysis experience. It was just horrifying. I felt pure fear seeing that smiling, tall guy holding the fucking shotgun. I don't know what that means. People say that dreams like are a sign of something or they mean something. Please enlighten me. Explain to me what my dream means because I have no goddamn clue. I hope that none of you ever experience sleep paralysis for yourselves because it's not good. Anyway, that's all I have to say for today. I'm sorry to end this video on like such a low note, but it's not exactly a positive topic that we're talking about. Anyways, that's all I have to say. I just felt like talking to you guys publicly about this because I can't seem to move past it. I hope you're staying safe out there wherever you are in the world. As always, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.